It was an ordinary morning at a bustling café where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the hum of chatter, the clinking of cups, and the occasional hiss of the espresso machine. Customers shuffled through the line, juggling phones and briefcases, while the staff worked swiftly to keep up with the orders. Amid this lively routine, the café door swung open, and in walked a figure that instantly shifted the energy in the room. Donald Trump entered, casually dressed yet commanding attention with his signature presence. Behind him trailed his tall and composed son, Barron Trump, along with a small security detail. Conversations faltered, heads turned, and a wave of whispers rippled through the crowd. Phones discreetly emerged as customers tried to capture the unexpected moment. Behind the counter stood a young female cashier, her face framed by stray strands of hair that had slipped from her ponytail during the busy shift. Her hands moved quickly, ringing up orders and exchanging smiles with customers, her demeanor calm despite the rush. Oblivious to the growing excitement around her, she was focused on her work, unaware that this seemingly regular day was about to take an unforgettable turn. As Donald Trump and Barron approached the counter, the cashier glanced up, offering a warm, professional smile. Little did she know, her kindness and quick thinking in the next few minutes would lead to a series of events that would change her life forever. As the line moved forward, Donald Trump reached the counter and greeted the cashier with his usual confidence. "I'll have a large coffee, black, and some snacks for the table," he said, glancing at the menu briefly before giving his order. The cashier, ever polite, nodded and began preparing the order, her movements efficient and practiced. When the total was rung up, Donald reached into his pocket for his wallet, only to pause. He patted his other pockets, then checked his coat. A moment of realization crossed his face, and he let out a small chuckle. "Well, this is embarrassing," he said, addressing the cashier with a sheepish smile. "It seems I've left my wallet behind." The cafe grew noticeably quieter as the surrounding customers tuned in to the unexpected situation. Eyes darted from Trump to the cashier, waiting to see how this moment would unfold. The cashier, however, didn't hesitate. Her warm smile remained intact as she spoke. "That's okay, sir. I can cover it for you." Her words hung in the air, cutting through the growing tension. The sincerity in her voice caught everyone off guard, especially Barron, who stood just behind his father, observing the interaction with keen interest. The cashier quickly swiped her card, treating the moment as no big deal, though the surprise on Trump's face was hard to miss. "That's very kind of you," Donald said, his tone both grateful and slightly taken aback. "Not many people would do that." The cashier brushed it off with a laugh. "It's just a cup of coffee and some snacks," she said, meeting his gaze. "Everyone has off days." Barron's expression softened as he watched her, impressed by her grace and kindness. What seemed like a small, simple act had an extraordinary ripple effect on the room, leaving everyone, including Trump and his son, quietly moved. Barron stood silently, observing the interaction between the cashier and his father. Her effortless kindness and humility left a lasting impression on him. He was accustomed to people treating his family differently, either with overwhelming deference or barely concealed criticism. But this moment felt genuine. The cashier didn't hesitate, didn't make it a spectacle, and didn't expect anything in return. As she went back to her work, smiling warmly at the next customer, Barron's mind whirred with thoughts. Her gesture was so simple, yet it carried a depth that struck him. She could have easily reacted with discomfort or turned the situation awkward, but instead, she diffused it with grace. He glanced at his father, who was still chuckling lightly about the incident, and then back at the cashier. "That's the kind of kindness the world needs more of," Barron thought to himself. Quietly, he resolved to do something special to acknowledge her act of generosity. It wasn't just about repaying her kindness. It was about shining a light on the character and humility she displayed so effortlessly. The seed of an idea began to form in his mind, and with a subtle nod, he made his decision. This moment deserved more than a simple thank you. It deserved something unforgettable. A few days later, the cafe buzzed with its usual rhythm. Customers chatting, espresso machines hissing, and the aroma of freshly baked pastries filling the air. The cashier, busy at her station, barely noticed the tall young man entering until he stepped directly into her line of sight. It was Barron Trump, but this time he wasn't accompanied by his father or the usual security entourage. Dressed casually and holding a neatly wrapped box in his hands, he smiled politely as he approached the counter. The cashier, momentarily stunned, greeted him with a mix of surprise and curiosity. "Hi," Barron began, his voice calm but sincere. "I wanted to thank you for what you did the other day. It might have seemed like a small thing, but it left a big impression on me." Before she could respond, Barron placed the box and a handwritten note on the counter. The cafe went silent as customers and employees paused to watch. "This is just a small gesture to show my appreciation," he said, his tone warm and genuine. The cashier opened the note first, her hands trembling slightly. It read, "Your kindness reminded me of what truly matters in this world. Compassion, humility, and grace. You turned what could have been an awkward moment into something heartwarming. Thank you for showing that generosity still exists in its purest form. Barron Trump." Tears welled up in her eyes as she read the words. Then she opened the box to find a beautifully engraved necklace with the word kindness, etched in elegant script, along with a voucher for a significant sum of money to help ease her burdens. The cashier's voice cracked as she looked up. I don't know what to say," she stammered. "This means so much to me, more than you'll ever know." Encouraged by his gentle smile, she shared her story. She spoke of how she had grown up in a modest household, learning the value of kindness from her late mother, who always told her, "If you can help someone, even in the smallest way, you should." The cafe seemed to hold its breath as her words resonated deeply with everyone present. "I wasn't doing anything special," she said, wiping her tears. "It's just what my mom would have wanted me to do." Barron nodded, visibly moved by her story. "What you did was special," he said softly. "You remind us that even the smallest acts of kindness can inspire something much bigger." The cashier smiled through her tears, the moment etched in the hearts of everyone watching. It wasn't just a gift. It was a connection, a shared understanding of humanity that transcended status and circumstance. The cafe was no longer just a bustling hub of caffeine and chatter. It had turned into the epicenter of a heartwarming moment that captivated everyone present. As Barron handed the gift to the cashier and she shared her heartfelt story, customers and staff began gathering around, drawn to the touching exchange. Phones were out, recording the moment as Barron's quiet humility and the cashier's emotional gratitude unfolded. The cafe's usual hum was replaced with murmurs of admiration and the occasional sniffle as the heartfelt interaction touched even the most unsuspecting bystanders. A man seated near the counter whispered to his companion, "I never thought I'd see something like this. It's genuine, you can tell." Another woman, holding her coffee cup, remarked, "This is what the world needs more of. Moments like these." Within hours, clips of the exchange flooded social media. Videos of Barron's thoughtful gesture and the cashier's tearful gratitude trended on multiple platforms. Hashtags like Kindness Matters and Barron Trump Human Side began trending, with countless comments praising Barron's gesture as a refreshing reminder of humanity and decency. "This just shows how kindness is contagious," one user commented, while another wrote, "We need more stories like this. It's not about the money, it's about the thought behind the action." Back in the cafe, the cashier struggled to find words to express her gratitude. "This means the world to me," she said, her voice trembling. "Not just the gift, but the fact that someone took the time to notice, to care. You've given me something I thought I'd lost. Hope." Barron, standing amidst the warmth of her words and the crowd's admiration, replied humbly, "It wasn't much, but I'm glad it could mean something to you. People like you are the reason kindness exists in the world. The moment ended with applause from the customers, a sound that echoed more than just approval. It was a collective acknowledgement of the power of compassion. For those in the cafe and the millions watching online, it wasn't just a surprising act of generosity. It was a reminder that small gestures can leave a lasting impact. As the cafe returned to its usual rhythm, Barron sat quietly at a table, reflecting on what had just unfolded. The cashier's story, her humility, and the simple yet profound impact of a small gesture weighed on his thoughts. Turning to the curious crowd still lingering, he decided to share a few words, his voice calm but resonating with sincerity. "Kindness doesn't need a reason," he began, his eyes meeting those of the onlookers. "It just needs a moment. We all have the power to create those moments, no matter how small they may seem." The crowd hung on to his every word, moved by the simplicity and truth in his statement. Sometimes the smallest acts, a kind word, a helping hand, or even just a smile, can ripple through someone's life in ways we can't imagine. That's what today reminded me. The cafe fell silent as his words settled, leaving an impression deeper than any viral clip could capture. The cashier, still visibly emotional, smiled through her tears, mouthing a quiet, "Thank you." The story didn't end there. The interaction not only changed her life, but inspired countless others to look for opportunities to spread kindness. Clips of Barron's words and the heartfelt exchange continued to circulate, igniting conversations about humanity, gratitude, and the simple power of noticing someone in need. As Barron left the cafe, he glanced back at the cashier, who stood tall, her faith in kindness renewed. For him, it wasn't about the attention or the viral buzz. It was about the reminder that small moments of connection can leave a lasting legacy. And with that, the story closed on a note of hope, leaving a profound message for everyone who heard it. That kindness, no matter how small, has the power to change lives. And maybe even the world.